This is the RetroScaler2x, and if you're curious what a RetroScaler is, if you're like me and you have a lot of retro games, say it's like a Sega Genesis or a Super Nintendo, or as a lot of people say, a SNES. So I'm officially a retro gamer. I have cartridges, and it kind of like is an older system, but there's one issue, a few things you have to do to get the best quality picture on a flat screen TV, so like a new HD TV, because as you know, if you've got any of the older systems, the thing that comes out of those things are all composite jacks, and I want to convert it over to HDMI. Now, there's two ways of doing it. You could just buy an HDMI converter, plug it in, but that doesn't upscale it. Let me tell you what this thing does. But the RetroScaler is a high-quality composite S-video component cable analog audio HDMI transducer converter. So you're wondering what that is. You connect your composite cables into this thing, and it takes a 240p that comes out of, say, like a Super Nintendo, and it converts it up to a 480i that fits all modern flat screen TVs. So that way you can use a HDMI cable on the thing and not have to use those composite cables. And it eliminates a lot of the lag. It cleans up the picture. This thing is absolutely amazing. Actually, let me do a little quick unboxing for y'all. That's why I put it back in the box, so I could do like a quick little unboxing and show you what all you get. So right on top, I got a set of instructions here. It goes over, so you got an HDMI out, power input, power switch. The manual was very well written and is put together nicely. You've got a smoothing mode and an input select, an AV, and then you have component and S-video on the side. Now we'll go over that here in a minute. Component S-video, and this just kind of like goes over. I won't go over all of this stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'll hook it up here in a minute, but let's go ahead and show you what it supports, but not limited to. The VIC-20, Atari 2600, MSX. I don't even know what that is. You guys leave in the comments what a MSX is. Nintendo, so just a regular Nintendo. N64, and that must be the Super Famicom, the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, PlayStation 2. I don't see the PS1. That's crazy. Sega Saturn, Sega MD, which I think just means Master System 2, Master System 1, and Sega Dreamcast. I have the Sega Master Systems, or Genesis, as I would call it, and I have the Super Nintendo, and that's what I'm going to use it for. You have the pass-through, where both, this mode is simple output, whatever the input signal is, without changing the resolution. Region compatibility, both the NTSC and the PAL, so those PAL systems, which I think is Japan and Europe, are both supported, and NTSC, which I think is Australia and the US. I might be wrong on that, but there's all the setup, and you can kind of see how to hook it up to a retro card, or a not a retro card, but a streaming type device. And let me just show you the device. So you get the box, it's right here, a USB mini cable. I have ordered a cable, so I have the upgraded S-video cable. I won't be using that, but I've already used that, and it works extremely well on that. But now I'm going to use the S-video cable. The buttons feel pretty good on it. The smoothing mode, input select, and an on and off switch, so you can just do like a hard reset there. The back of it, the case is nicely made. It looks like it's made for it. RetroScaler2x line doubler, meaning I guess it takes the 240 and turns it into a 480i. Let me show you how this thing works. So the power, it doesn't require much power. So if you've got a USB on the back of your TV, that's all the power you need. So let me go ahead, hook this thing up, and let's see. And I'll do kind of like a before and after and show you how well this thing will. I have a USB port right here. Just slide that in, and as soon as I slide it in, I get the green lights coming on. I've got it ran into HDMI port 3, so I'm just going to stick it like that. Very simple. That went together really well. So I'm going to set this right here for now. Now what I'm going to do, I have my Sega Genesis right down here, and I've got it plugged in the back jacks right here. So I don't know if you can see them in the camera, but there's the back jacks right here. I'll do retro normal first, and then hook it into the RetroScaler, and we'll see what it looks like. And then I'll do a side-by-side comparison. Let's turn that off. Then we'll do the Super Nintendo, because I'm going to do the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. I still haven't marked Nintendo on my thing. It should come right up. There it is. So everybody, this is hooked directly into the composite jack. We can go ahead and play. Look at the words on the screen. You can see how they look. I'll show you the opening credits scene right here. And the sound is not good. The Sega Genesis has really terrible sound to begin with anyway. I'm just gonna let it play and show you what it looks like without doing anything. I'll go ahead and hit start and we'll play. I'll actually show you playing the game. You can see all the looks of it here. And there's a little bit of a delay. Now this is in the component cable. I haven't played this game in a while. Well, let me go ahead and stop right here so you can kind of get the message. You can kind of see across the top of Sonic's head right there. You can see how pixelated and how blocky all that is. Let me go ahead. Now let's plug up the RetroScaler and let's see if it does anything on the Sega Genesis. Now I've got it plugged into HDMI 3. So let's click HDMI 3 and let me turn the RetroScaler on. Turning it on now. You notice how all the words are a little easier to read? Now look at Sonic. Here's the biggest difference I can tell. See the top of Sonic's head and see all that? Look how much clearer all that is. This thing actually works really well. It feels, the button responsiveness feels a little quicker. This game was not the best at like responsiveness anyway, especially playing on one of these screens. I want to try to get back to the same spot. But really, here's the thing I'm looking at the most. The numbers and the words up here move. And the top of his head is less blocky. I'll pause it right there and let you look at it. That's full scale right there. That's line doubling, completely line doubling. Well, let's just say it works well on Sega. Let me go ahead and hook the Super Nintendo up now because the Sega Genesis works pretty good. And the first game we'll try is Super Mario World. Let's put that in. Turn that on. I have my Ret-Bit-Do controller. This is not plugged into the RetroScaler, so it's right on composite. So this is by far one of my favorite systems ever is the Super Nintendo. And you could see the way the blockiness of the words, how Mario looks, the letter, I mean the year, which is 1990, 91, and Nintendo, how all that looks. And we'll go ahead and start it and I'll show you. This looks terrible. You can see how all that looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and play some. You can see I've already in a couple of worlds. Actually, let's go down here. But look at all of the main screen right here. And I will turn the RetroScaler on in just a minute. I want to go into a game and show you what it looks like. And by the way, this gamepad right here is the 8-Bit-Do. Oh my God, they're good. I highly recommend this gamepad. Who would have thought you had this good of a wireless controller on a Super Nintendo? If I would have had that back in the day. But you can kind of see, I'm just not going to play a lot here. Here's what we'll look at. We'll look at Mario. We'll look at how the trees are, how the apples, look at all the screen. Now let me go ahead, plug in the RetroScaler. I'm going to pause it. Or actually, I'll reset it. And then you got to reset everything because when you plug in that RetroScaler, it kind of throws everything off. So let me reset it. And by the way, the cord that I'm using is the S-Video cord. For the Super Nintendo, it has composite and S-Video. It's not run through S-Video here. This is just ran through component cables. So I'm going to plug in the S-Video into the RetroScaler and have it all set up. So let's do that now. Okay, so here's my Super Nintendo cables, and this is the composite. This is the S-Video out. I actually ordered this, so it has the components there, and it has the S-Video. What I like about the RetroScaler 2, make sure we get the S-Video lined up. S-Video goes just like that. You put the white over there, which I think is the audio right, and then the audio left, which is the red. Now, see, because I have the S-Video, I do not need the yellow, and then the switch on the side, check it out. As soon as you turn it on, all the lights come up. So let's go over, let's check out the Super Nintendo and see how this thing looks. And look how it just hides on the back of the TV there. So it doesn't have to do anything, and because it's running on power on the TV, when I turn the TV off, this turns off. So let's go check out what it looks like now. HDMI 3, and I'm going to restart the system. Click on HDMI 3 and let's see what we got. Now there is a noticeable difference in the way the lettering is right here and how all of that is. It's not as sharp. Really where you're telling it, look at where 90, 91, Nintendo, look at all of that, how crisp and clear that is. I have the sharpness up so it's on max line doubling. This looks really good. You can see, and my colors, I put it on game mode on here. Now I can actually make out what that says. Before that was all just kind of like merged into one word. We'll do the same thing. Okay, now look at the main screen too. Look at all the colors in the main screen. Go back to that same world. Yeah, look at Mario, how more crisp. This almost looks like a downloadable modern game to me. It's like something you might have downloaded on the Switch or something. That's how good this looks. When I look at this screen and look at all the difference. Look at the numbers up here, the apples, the star logos, I can't remember what those little guys are called, those little wormy things. And when you add this scaler, it adds more of a responsiveness to it. Okay, now we got Yoshi, it's on. I think you get the point that this thing actually works. Let me go through some of the settings on while it's plugged up here. So I'm going to push the button over here and go, what setting is this? I think that's just a straight pass-through, but even with the straight pass-through, it's already making it look a lot clearer. Let me hit it one more time. No, that's the straight pass-through. I can already tell that looks a little different right there. It messed Mario. And then I don't know what this input select, when I do that, it looks really bad on that. Now that's like a black and white filter. I don't know why you would run that. Hitting that again, it brings the color back. And then now let's go back. That's full scaler mode. But you can see how good this thing works. I'm a believer. I think this thing works really well for the price. If you're like a retro gamer and you want to kind of like have the best picture that you can get out of these systems at an affordable price, I know there's other options out there, but wow, when I was looking around, the differences were like so drastic where I'm like, okay, I'm not putting that amount of money into my retro gaming collection. I just have a Super Nintendo, a Sega Genesis. I have a Retron 5 and that one works just fine if I want to run that. But now this is original hardware from 1990. This looks absolutely amazing on a flat screen TV. This is a Hisense TV and it's just like an affordable TV that I picked up, you know, along the way. And I think it works just great for gaming. I put it in gaming mode, by the way. So yeah, there it is, everybody. That's all I got today on the RetroScaler times two times. How about that? With multiple inputs. See y'all in the next video.